5 habits that make you unlikable instantly. Have you ever met someone who simply has a talent for being unlikable? Or perhaps you've felt that people don't seem to like you very much? If your answer is yes, or maybe, this video is for you. Today, I'll reveal the 5 habits that make you unlikable and how to avoid them. Stay until the end because the last one is the most impactful. This is our new men's secret section called The Secret of Charisma. I'm Aldo, and I'll give you all the tools you need to take your charisma and personal relationships to another level. So without further ado, don't forget to subscribe, and let's get started. Surely you've encountered people who you simply don't like at all, and I also know that you wouldn't want to be one of those people for anything in the world. That's why today I wanted to go over what things we could learn in these situations and how we could avoid certain behavior patterns that make others dislike us unintentionally. Habit number 1. Interpreting an ambiguous comment or situation negatively. Imagine someone asks you simple questions. Something like, "Did you go to college?" Or, "Do you exercise?" They seem like harmless questions, right? However, if you instantly feel like you're being personally attacked and respond with coldness, rudeness, or even a touch of sarcasm that might go unnoticed, we might be talking about this habit. Negative interpretation can turn everyday conversations into a minefield. Let's say you're asked about your college experience, and your response is something like, "College? Do I really need a diploma for my worth to be recognized?" This response, although perhaps sarcastic, may not be perceived as such. This is where we run the risk of misinterpreting the other person's intentions and responding in a way that may not reflect our true opinion. When faced with questions that might seem uncomfortable, take a moment before responding. Giving the benefit of the doubt and avoiding automatically interpreting every question as a personal attack can prevent misunderstandings and strengthen connections. Sometimes, a question is just that, a question. Alright, here we talk about sarcasm, something that is precisely our habit number 2, and not sarcasm itself, but sarcasm that goes unnoticed. Sarcasm needs signals that highlight it. You must exaggerate, whether in your tone of voice, choice of words, or body language. If you don't, people might overlook your sarcastic intention, creating misunderstandings in communication. Imagine you're planning a meeting with friends, and someone suggests a place you don't like. You respond with an ironic tone, "Sure, that place is my favorite." Without obvious signs of sarcasm, you could imply that you're genuinely excited when, in reality, you're being sarcastic. If your sarcasm isn't recognized, you risk appearing defensive, and your sarcastic comments may be misinterpreted. To avoid this, it's crucial to adjust your tone of voice and gestures to clearly indicate when you're being sarcastic. A practical rule is to act with your body at that moment in line with your sarcastic tone. Exaggerate and change your tone of voice, gestures, and expressions. This will not only ensure that your sarcasm is noticed but also prevent confusion. For example, you can try squinting and changing your tone of voice a little, but being so subtle, many may not interpret it as sarcasm. So, a good general rule for these cases is to really act out what you're saying, especially if the literal meaning of your words could make you sound like a jerk. Exaggerate and change your tone of voice, gestures, and expressions. That will make people distinguish between what you say seriously and what you say clearly in jest. Going back to the example I gave you at the beginning about college, in this case, if you indeed didn't go to college, you might react with a bit of frustration. But remember, no one can read minds. Beyond what went through your head in questions like that, in your own life, it will serve you well to interpret ambiguous situations positively. In fact, even when you realize that people have negative intentions, you can interpret them positively so that you can be the one who controls the interaction. Those kinds of jokes where you interpret a situation positively can even help you get along with the person who is being rude to you. Habit number 3. Seizing every opportunity to look good or to be in the spotlight. The third piece of advice is that you shouldn't seize every opportunity you have to look good or to be in the spotlight. You can, depending on the context, speak well of a third person who was with you in the story you're telling. This is an effective strategy, especially when people already stand out in something. For example, suppose you're very competent in a specific activity at work and you're talking with a group of friends about that activity. Instead of focusing on yourself, highlight another person, even placing them above you if the situation warrants it. For example, imagine you're at the gym with your friends, and the conversation revolves around the latest workout routine. Instead of solely highlighting your own physical achievements, you decide to praise a workout partner. You comment on how their impeccable weightlifting technique has been an inspiration for you and has elevated the group's level. By publicly recognizing their skills, you create an atmosphere of mutual appreciation in the gym, where everyone feels valued for their unique contributions. Speaking well of another person in this scenario can be very effective. For instance, if you're sitting next to someone who just praised another person, take the opportunity to acknowledge the merits of someone else as well. This moment is conducive to expressing admiration for the achievements of others rather than highlighting your own qualities. Doing so highlights your humility and contributes to creating a more positive and collaborative environment. Instead, insist on talking about your own virtues in situations where their praising another person starkly contrasts with the humility present in the gesture of acknowledging others. For example, imagine you're in cooking class with some friends, and after a class where everyone participated, the delicious dish prepared by one of your friends is praised. Instead of joining the collective recognition, you decide to highlight your own cooking skills. Well, that's an example. In summary, when you're in a situation where others are speaking well of someone else, the most charismatic and confident thing you can do is speak well of other people. Don't worry too much about looking good. When you speak well of others, you create a positive dynamic, and it's more likely that, in turn, they'll speak well of you. Habit number 4. Trying to always win. In this fourth point, we'll address something fundamental in social interactions. Not trying to win every joke made about you. This attitude can turn fun into something uncomfortable since every comment becomes a competition, and no one wants to feel like they're constantly in a battle of wits. When you insist on winning every joke, you can convey the feeling that you take every comment as a fight. If you've ever experienced that tension, you know how exhausting it can be. One way to avoid this dynamic is to resist the temptation to always have the last word. Instead of turning every joke into a verbal duel, choose to go along with it and contribute to the same joke. Imagine someone makes a light joke about your choice of shirt. Instead of responding with another taunt to win, you could contribute to the humor by saying something like, "Well, it's the retro future fashion. Maybe you'll discover it next year." Here, instead of competing, you contribute in a humorous way, maintaining the light tone of the situation. When you don't take jokes personally, even those that might border on insulting, you ensure that they don't have power over you. Moreover, you foster an environment where people laugh with you and not at you. The ability to laugh at oneself shows confidence and often turns jokes into shared experiences rather than confrontations. In summary, letting go of the need to win every joke creates a more relaxed and enjoyable space in your interactions. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is how to take a compliment. Habit number 5. Not knowing how to receive compliments. Now, let's talk about the fifth piece of advice on how to receive a compliment. The key here is to avoid the temptation to respond with something negative, even if it's in a joking tone. Instead, opt to sincerely thank and, if appropriate, reinforce that gratitude with eye contact and physical contact, genuinely conveying your appreciation. Thanking for a compliment can be an art in itself. Avoid downplaying the positive assertion with unnecessary self-criticism. For example, if someone praises your ability to tell jokes, instead of responding with a, "Oh, I'm not as funny as you think," simply thank them and feel free to share a smile. Imagine someone praises your guitar playing skills. Instead of responding with self-criticism, you could say, "Thank you, I'm glad you noticed. Is there a favorite song you'd like to hear?" Furthermore, another elegant way to receive a compliment is to find the opportunity to return the gesture with an even bigger compliment to the other person. This not only creates a positive exchange but also strengthens bonds. If someone praises you for your organizational skills, you could respond, "Thank you, but I must say your creativity in problem solving always inspires me. It's amazing how you manage to find innovative solutions." In summary, by receiving compliments with elegance and generosity, you're building a positive environment. Avoid punishing people for praising your skills. Instead, respond with genuine gratitude or look for the opportunity to return the gesture. Remember, a simple thank you or a compliment back can take you much further in your social interactions. You should avoid responding with something negative even if it's in jest. In this case, instead, you can genuinely thank and maybe convey it more genuinely through eye contact and physical contact. Another way to thank is to find a way to give them an even bigger compliment. In any case, no matter what option you choose, don't punish people for giving you a compliment because if you do, they won't keep doing it. When in doubt, you can simply say a genuine thank you or find a way to compliment that other person, and that will take you much further. I sincerely hope that these tips have been very useful for boosting your charisma and enriching your social interactions. If you enjoyed the content and are eager to continue discovering more secrets to stand out in any situation, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I want to remind you that this is a new section on our channel called The Secret of Charisma. But that's not all. We also invite you to explore our other sections like Stoic Secret and our main content, The Secret of Seduction. Here, in Men's Secret, we embark together on the exploration of the keys to being a better man and reaching the best version of ourselves. If you're not yet part of our community, we extend a warm invitation to subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss a single video. Don't leave yet because I leave you with 2 videos that might interest you. See you!